Hello, welcome back. So today we are going to start with module 1. So last time we just had a very overview about the introduction and what we are going to cover in this particular training, but this time we will go deep dig in and let's move module by module here. And let's start with the very first module about SAP architecture and what is the basis role there. So before that, let me start with what is SAP. Okay, SAP is an ERP. So before going to SAP as well, let me tell you what exactly is an ERP as well. So ERP means an enterprise resource planning. What does that mean? So resource planning, enterprise resource planning is nothing but a software which is able to manage end to end of any of the businesses which you look into it, right? So right now, if I say a business, right, I just say one of the car manufacturing company, what all you business doesn't mean that car is selling and then it is you are placing an order and you are getting it, but for a company it revolves around where they are getting manufacture, who all are the manufacturers, where the parts are getting resourced from, and how many parts are there in their inventory, what is the requirement which it is coming, how much they have to pay, how do they track about but the salary which they are paying to them, how do they track how the new resources are being onboarded to their company, and then how many where all plant is there, how the manufacturing is being done, what is the requirement, how much should we pre-plan about the requirement of how many cars do I need to produce, right? So there will be sometimes there will be a peak season there, which during auspicious time when people want to buy a lot of cars, but there will be sometimes there will be a non-peak period, right? So during month of August or technically in India, if you just see that in the month of August, there's a less number of people who buy the car. But during the month of festivals like Deepavali, Dasara, or sometimes for during the Christian Christmas time, there will be a lot of uh, urge for people to buy new stuff, right? So during that time, the production should be high. The reason would be they don't want to spend much on the inventory cost, right? To store any car in their garage would actually mean that there you are spending out some money there in protecting that car, or you have to again re-clean everything and give, right? So that's again. So how do you calculate that demand and supply? And once the car is being sold, how the money is coming back, all these things, right? So it is a very complex network when you are running a business, right? So how do you track that? What is purpose of tracking the stuff? So how do you there is a software which they call it as an enterprise resource planning, which is basically in short term we call it as an ERP, right? So this is what ERP means, right? And SAP is one of the ERP. So there are other players in the market like Microsoft Dynamics, there is an Oracle Fusion, you have Salesforce, uh, Zoho is also there. So there are multiple ERPs in the market, right? Why SAP stands out? Okay. Uh, we'll go through that now. What is an SAP? Before that, SAP is in English, they usually stands for System Application and Products in Data Processing, meaning whatever task which have been done by an Excel sheet, right? So that all you can do it in a software based manner, right? So that is what we call it as an uh, uh, software for SAP. So system application and product for data processing. So that stands for SAP, and SAP is one of the ERP, which is a modular based product, right? So what does a module means now here when in a software? So imagine I'll take out few of the terms now, right? One by one. So warehouse. So how much of my resources are kept in my warehouse, right? So all those data, if I have excessive parts, I'm storing it in my warehouse. If I produce something and I put it in my warehouse just to check it, so all those warehouse related data, it is stored in one of the module called as an BW module. So BW is nothing but a business warehouse. So this is where your multiple humongous of data which will be stored. So if you consider the entire SAP, so uh, BW is one of the most important module which usually stores all the data, and this is one of the biggest system as well in SAP world. Okay, and next comes is I have something called as an CRM. So that is nothing but your customer relationship manager, right? Customer relationship management solution in SAP that is mainly focused on your sales and other stuff. So let me just show you how that all looks. Okay, so this is one, this is another. I'm just drawing it out, and this will be my core. I'll draw it. This is my BW. This is my SCM. There is something called as a CRM. There is something called as a SF. There is something called as an Ariba. All these are different modules. So if you consider in SAP, it's purely based on the modular based approach, right? How do you track? So all these are different modules which is connected to one central system, which we call it as an ECC system. Okay, we'll come to that later. So CRM. Okay, so CRM is basically your customer relationship management, which is focused on the customer based processes like sales, marketing, services. Okay, this why this is module is required, right? So this helps to understand the customer's experience. How do you boost, how do you increase the efficiency, how do you make more profit as well, right? So you understand the customer behavior, and then with that you will start earning more money, right? Then another module is SCM. So basically the supply chain management, this is called. uh, Supply chain management is basically tracks how you are creating and delivering a product or a service, right? So imagine you are procuring a raw material from somebody who's a manufacturer of the raw material. So from him, it is coming to your production site, and from there you are producing something and you are sending it out to the dealers, right? So this entire raw materials, where it is coming from, how it is coming, how much is there in my raw materials. So everything is tracked using the SCM. So this this is mainly for the planning, sourcing, production, logistic, distribution. So again, uh, this why this how this module helps is you will enhance how your products are reaching to the customer, right? So once you are sending certain data to one of the just a simple like car example, right? So one dealer is selling a lot of cars. Okay, his inventory is getting empty, but in another city the cars are not getting sold so much, right? So now imagine you are sending equal amount of cars which are manufactured to both the dealers. What will happen? For one dealer it will be excessive, and another dealer it will be a shortage, right? So in both the cases it's a loss to a company, right? And the end of the day, so you track, you manage in such a way that wherever there is a more demand, you are sending it out there, right? So that is what SCM mainly focuses on. Then comes my SF. SF is, I'm just talking about SF, which is success factor. So success factor is mainly about how it is one of the cloud tools by SAP, and they are pretty much into their recruitment. So now, once you're trained, you start applying to the various company. Okay, you just see what is their recruitment portal look like, right? For some, it will be Salesforce. For some, it will be like SF. For some, it will be a different portal, right? So you will see that for most of the companies, there will be something called as an SAP. You will see that success factor is being used, and That's one of the module for recruitment. Ariba is mainly your buying tool, e-commerce tool, right? So in the end, if you see, there is something called as a you see that Flipkart e-commerce tool, right, from where you can buy and all. So similarly, that is something called as a uh, Ariba tool. So then comes my FI. Okay, there will be an FI, FICA, FICO. All these are financial accounting and other stuff. So this mainly tracks about how the payments are getting, finance related stuff mainly. Okay, then comes the material management. There will be something called as an SD. There is something called as an PP. All these are again sub modules, right? There is something called as a PM, plant maintenance and all. These are all the different modules which SAP has. Okay, but at the end, what exactly is the heart of an SAP is something called as an ECC, or right now we have something called as an S4. S4 is a combination of everything. You just need to do it. But let me just start with the traditional method, right? ECC. Okay, ECC is nothing but your core. Okay, it is one of the things which tries to bind everything in SAP. So whatever, if for a business, they will just come to this central system and give some kind of data, and then that will fetch uh, contacting all the modules and give you the data, like simple month end reports. Okay, from every month end, I need to collect data from my dealers, from my how much is there in my inventory, how much was my cash flow, how many raw materials, everything is coming, right? So how do I get it? So I go to my central system ECC, and then I just fire it out that I need this data. So it will go and connect with all the system and try to get that report and give it to you. So this is mainly your business. Every transaction is stored in your ECC system. Okay, this is one of how SAP is in general. So there is still more, but how the modular approach runs, right? This is the first concept. Then comes my ECC to S4. Okay. Earlier, what we had was only ECC. S4 evolved from very past about how SAP looks like, from where to where it has come, all those things. But there is something called as an okay, so there is something called as an S4 and there is something called as an ECC. This is an evolution. Okay, this is an evolution which has happened from ECC to S4. So currently everything is in S4. Most of the all the entire new releases which are happening are on S4. ECC is almost on the verge of getting it closed. So this is how uh, the evolution has started from SAP. So I'll cover that out in my next module. But right now, just remember that we have something called as an ECC and then the S4. Okay, there is a good thing and a bad thing when we migrated, okay, from ECC to S4. So earlier everything was like module based, so you need to install each SAP system. So a lot of resources used to go everything. So imagine ECC is one system, CRM is one SAP system, PM is one SAP system, SAP is one system. Okay. So now you are reducing basically everything into one SAP system, which is S4 HANA system, where you can just activate whichever module is needed. So in that way, what happens is your number of resources which you do it reduced, number of systems to maintain also got reduced, and overall effort from the cost perspective also got reduced. So this is one of the key things which has happened uh, during the evolution of SAP. So before we look into the evolution about how SAP and what all the different flavors of SAP came in, let's let's go back to one of the key things. Again, people talk a lot about cloud, on-prem, and private cloud. Okay, so this is OP. I'll call it as OP on, and this is cloud, and this is PC, private cloud. Okay, so what is an on-premise? Okay, so traditionally on-premise is nothing but your system. Okay, you have a data center which is owned by you. Just imagine your laptop. Okay, that is something called as an on-premise. So you have a database, you have a place to store your data, uh, where which is owned by you. Okay, then comes the cloud. Okay, right now you have heard this buzzword about cloud, Google Cloud, Amazon Cloud, then Microsoft Cloud, Alibaba Cloud, all this. So what exactly is a cloud means now? Cloud is very simple. A company hosts your data. Okay, whatever system you want, how much size you want, they will give it, and they will charge you for that. Okay, what is an advantage by doing that? See, now for imagine I have a big company, like Reliance. Okay, for that, you if you create a data center, it's fine because there are a lot of data is moving back and forth and all those things which are happening, right? But imagine a small company, okay, like 1,000 users, or a 500 to 1,000 users company. So for that company, initially investing so much of money to build a data center, maintain the data center, is a bit costly affair, right? So they will rather prefer to go in a subscription module, right? They will go in a subscription module with the cloud. So cloud offers a subscription based module, right? With that, what will happen is you are reducing your uh, upfront cost, right? So whatever, imagine to build a data center like an on-prem, I need to buy a land, I need to have a proper electricity, I need to build an entire building, I need to buy the storage service, I need to build the storage services, I need to buy all the CPUs and RAMs, proper electricity, cooling facility. Then see, one major problem with the data center is the rats. Okay, rats comes, cut wires and all those. So you have to be pretty much sure about that. Then you build another site where, which is basically in case your primary site which we are building, in case if that fails for some reason, then your backup system should be running. So all those parameters becomes a very costly affair, right? For a big players, it's fine. They can manage with that upfront. But for the small companies, they are still uncertain. Sometimes they are uncertain whether they want to stay in a longer period or not. So if they pay such a huge amount, then their business will become bit of a cash flow would be bit less, right? So for such people, cloud is pretty much a very good option. So in cloud, there are multiple options. Again, a private cloud and a public cloud, right? So cloud is nothing but a company owns a data center and they will give you a certain space in that data center to use the resources, right? And they will charge you for that. Imagine I have built a data center in Bangalore, and the size of my I give is very big, so I give it part by part to 100 of my customers instead of one data center to one. So now here I can divide my data center to 100 clients. So there also the data privacy, everything would be maintained, so that one data cannot be will not be shared with another company, all those things. So that's something which is part of your privacy and every audit and privacy thing. So there you are not allowed to share the data, right? So in that manner, these players will maintain such kind of a privacy for the company. So they will assure that there won't be any data leak and all, right? So in that way, hundreds of customers are using data center is being shared with 100 customers, and then they are using it and then they're paying it. So this is kind of a win-win situation for the both, right? Amazon is earning money by sharing that resources, and also for the company, they don't have to pay so much of upfront. Whatever they're using it, they are paying for it. in the cloud itself, there are two variants. One is a private cloud, another one is a public cloud. Public cloud is nothing but you are sharing that to multiple customers, your data center. In private cloud, you dedicate certain amount of your cloud environment to one particular customer. Okay, so these are all different flavors in that cloud. So no, so this is mainly about the cloud architecture. How does that look? Now comes the next part, the evolution of ERP, or basically the S4 from the old version to the new version. Okay, so SAP, it all started by three of the ex-IBM company employees. So they started SAP and in 1972. Okay, so this is where the birth of first SAP. So the birth of SAP started in 1972. This is where the first SAP as a was born. Okay, so this was a very minimal R1 architecture, which they call it. Then there is a shift in 1979. So there was R2 architecture came. I'll talk more about R2, R3, everything. Then in R3 came in 92. So there was a big shift from 79 to 92. There is a really big shift from where the whole architecture got changed. Then comes my ECC 5.0, which came in 2004. Then one of the key inventions from SAP was a database. Why this was also needed, I'll tell you. So SAP HANA, which was invented in 2011. Then came the next key thing was S4 HANA, which came in 2015. So this is a complete suite which SAP has built in 2015. So which is my S4 HANA. And then currently we are in a phase where we call it as Rise with SAP, which has come in 2021. This is a different altogether, not an architectural change here, but there is something enhancement which there came. But the key architecture change which has happened was from here to here to here, basically from R1 to R2 architecture, then R3 architecture. ECC is just an enhancement on top of it, database invention, and then the complete suite which got built in that. Okay, so this is just for the SAP. So there are almost 170 plus different kinds of products which SAP delivers. As when I talk about the modules, that's basically, this is where the module picture comes in, right? So in the module we talked about multiple products. So there are, SAP delivers more than 180 products in terms of different use cases. And also SAP provides business specific product as well, right? So what does that mean? So business specific means, come if you imagine a retail industry or oil and gas. So we have big players like Shell, BPCL, Indian Oil, British Petroleum, all those things, right? So they need certain customizing based on their business case, right? And for the hospital there is a different need, right? For hospitals there will be a different, for defense there will be a different needs. So what SAP does is, using the same modules, they just make sure that the business catering has been done based on the industry, right? For defense, right? They need all modules, but everything should be in a very secured manner, right? So SAP provide that upfront. If you come, if any company, if any defense company comes and asks him that we are doing a defense business, they will say that this is what is a defense solution from our end, which you can use it, right? There you don't have to reinvent much of the things. You can directly go with the industry specific solution which is available, or you can go with a standard approach, and then you can use all those uh, stuff which is you can modify it according to your business need. So this is something called as an industry specific uh, requirement. So what we covered in this very first chapter was, what is an SAP, what is a modular approach, how it is done, how is an how different modules connect with SAP, what is a basic evolution of SAP, and from where to where SAP has reached from 1972 to 2025 as of now we are talking, right? So this is an entire evolution of where SAP has started. Okay. Then more details about how the architecture looks it, we will cover it in the next module. But before that, what is an SAP basis role here? Okay, so for which we are taking up this training, right? So SAP basis is nothing but you guys are the core admin people who maintains this entire landscape or entire business to be up and running, right? So as I told in my introduction training that video, that basis people are mainly the admin guys who take care of the system, that are maintaining, regular maintenance are being done, or making sure that the system is running up and running so that the business is running, uh, all the stuff. So basis is a never ending job, whether it's from the learning perspective or from the work perspective. You will work 24 by 7, you will have a work uh, endlessly, and also new things are coming very rapidly, so you need to be adaptive to those changes as well, right? So imagine when I started my career there was ECC, right? So we were purely working on the ECC back in 2013. Then comes SAP HANA. Companies slowly started shifting from SAP from traditional databases to SAP HANA. Right? Traditional basis database, where what I mean is MaxDB or Oracle, because they moved from HANA to sorry, they moved from those traditional databases to HANA. Okay. Then in 2015, S4 HANA was introduced. So right now, most of the companies are looking into S4 HANA. How do we migrate it? People earlier companies didn't migrate, but now there is a hard stop in 2027, which got moved to 2030, right? So slowly, but the company needs to move from traditional old stuff to new S4, right? So in order to get the latest features as well. Right now everybody talks about AI, machine learning, all those things. So they all comes with the latest softwares. That comes with SAP S4 HANA suite. So all these things you need to evolve, you need to work rapidly, and also different modules. You need to make sure that how what all the system requirements is there. You need to read the installation guide. You need to have a different strategy when you are looking into the different differences. No two different, no two SAP systems are similar. They will be definitely change unless and until you just make a copy out of it. But in when it is productively being used, it's always different system, right? So from that perspective, your learning is never ending. Either you will be doing a regular task or you're doing okay. Before that, in SAP basis as well, there are two different kind of work which you will be doing it. One, imagine a support related job, right? Or there will be something called as an implementation job. Okay, implementation work or a project work, which certain companies call it. What does that mean? uh, See, you are working daily, uh, interacting with the client. So there will be two different kinds of work approach which basis guys will have it. One is you are either working directly to a product based company, or you are working from the service based company. What does that mean now? Okay, so the company which are using SAP system directly, they are called as a product based company. Like if I'm an employee of a Reliance, and Reliance has bought SAP software and I am working as an admin under them, then I am working in a product based company. But imagine Reliance has outsourced it to TCS to provide services to maintain their system. That's when they're called as a consulting company or a service-based company. There is a difference when you work uh, in two different fields here. So product-based company is always better when you compare it with a service-based company. Okay, no doubt. Okay, there will be a debate, but based on my experience, it's always product based company is you will have a more authority, okay, than what you are getting in service based company. But service based company is a platform where you will learn extensively, okay. You will be challenged at multiple locations, you will be challenged day in day out, and then you will have to learn many things as well. There are pros and cons in both, okay. But when you are working in a product based company, you are more on an authoritative side, as I said, right? What does that mean? So you will just say that I need this to be done. Okay, even though you are a basis admin there, you will see authorization, everything for a basis guide will be there, but the position where you are sitting matters. Now, I have I'm in a product based company, I have a consulting company, and then I'll just order them that you monitor the system day in, day out. And what a product based company guy would do, he just runs the project, basically implementing new stuff in that particular SAP system, or looking into the implementation project like an upgrade, migration, all those things. He will do one, he will document it and then pass it on so that they can do it in a bulk, right? So such decision based work you will get majorly in product based company. In service based company is where you will do a lot of repetitive work or issues, okay. Uh, so now, here there are two things. In every company, there will be, in every project, rather than every project, there will be two different teams. Okay, usually operate. One is called as a support project, another one is called as an implementation. See, when SAP is being used by the business, right, in production, there will be a lot of day in, day out issues comes. Like my printers are not working, my print is there, my system performance is low, or I need to schedule certain jobs in the system, or I need to get my user created, I need to do a system to system connection and all those things. So these are all the day in, day out of business issue. These are typically comes in the service based or a support based project where you are supporting certain things, right? Your system is going down or you need to restart the system, change the parameter. All these things are part of the support related stuff. Then comes the project related, right? The or the implementation where these are the senior guys. Okay, so how the evolution would happen, right? For the first 1 or 2 years, you guys are pretty much working in a support project, that too mainly in the monitoring and other stuff, because monitoring would help you to understand more. You are identifying issues, then you are reporting it, and typically from there on you will work or guide, shadow your senior resources in your company, and then you will try to work independently for next 2 3 years, and then you eventually go into the implementation project. So implementation project is mainly the task where you are doing a lot of implementations, like you are migrating a system, upgrading a system. All those things are part of the implementation, because these are very much critical and this needs a lot of experience as well. And how does the experience come? Once you know the basics very good, then you become eligible to take up such tasks, right? So this is where the implementation thing comes in. So after this there will be a two different opportunities for you. Either you can be you started off your consultant, then you become either you can choose to be in a architecture side, or you can become a managerial side, so technical and non-technical again. And then there is something called as a program manager or an SDM, service delivery managers. These are classified into a non-technical, but either you can be a lead or a technical manager, or you can be an architect. So these are all the your technical related stuff. So and this is how your future looks like. Okay, once you grow up, what is next, right? So this is an obvious question: where do I see myself in next 5 years, right? So you technically grow, you become either you take up something called as a non-technical roles, or you can take up as technical roles as well. So this is how SAP grows, right? And also coming to the requirement in the market. So see, SAP, as I said, every company or every transaction which you make right now also, if you make any transaction, right, somewhere or around it will touch SAP. Let me take an example in Reliance, Adani, Petroleums, uh, Air India, or you take up your retail industry like Adani's, Vishal Mega Mart, Reliance Stores, remands, all these runs in SAP, right? So you're touching your transaction, or in a food brand like Nestle, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, all these runs background in an SAP. So somewhere, or even in the phone industry, right? Apple, the biggest consumer. So somewhere around 80% of transactions which are happening worldwide touches SAP some or another way. So imagine the scale at which SAP has been there, right? So even the companies like Infosys, all those companies run their recruitment partner via SAP itself, right? So this, imagine the scale at which it is grown. So to maintain this, there are people which are required, right? So I've seen, to be very honest, I've seen like SAP is a requirement now. It's very growing. There is a need in the market for a really good candidates. All right, and there was middle just before the COVID, there was a dip in the requirement. The reason being the sales force was aggressively moving. But after that, once SAP picked up the pace, which with their technology or their delivery to the customer, SAP become in last 5 years, if I'm seeing it, the demand for SAP is just increasing day by day. The amount of job opportunities, the amount of requirements which are coming, the amount of change which is happening in the market is for basis guys is huge. So I do see for next 5 to 10 years there is a good requirement for basis guys, and there is not gonna get slower. But as long as you are updated, you are knowledgeable, and you try to keep yourself updated, right? So, yeah, this is about the very first chapter which we are talking about. So, see you in the next session where we will talk about the architecture of SAP. Thanks for joining this session. See you in the next session. Thank you.